Hey everybody, happy Thursday. Welcome to the very first Own Your Health Lunch and Learn mini series that Lisa and I are going to be running every Thursday at roughly about 12 p.m, dependent on technology and how well the internet responds, hence my little lateness today. But what's the purpose of these lunch and learn sessions? Well, Lisa and I are huge supporters of holistic health and well-being initiatives and strategies. And so our real concept and motto with Own Your Health Collective is that we are helping you make healthy simple again. And so what we want to do, because there is an absolute plethora of information out there, there's a lot of misconceptions, there's a lot of fads, there's a lot of, can we say BS that's out there? And really what we want to do with these sessions is give you little snippets of learnings, strategies, thought processes, ideas, tips, tricks, call them what you will, to help you think about your health and well-being, but also look at where perhaps you could introduce some of these tips and these tricks into your life and really start to see the flow and effect of not only it on your own health, but also on the health and well-being of those around you as well. So to kick us off, I want to talk about a term which is probably bandied around a fair bit across the world, and that is this concept of well-being. So for Lisa and I at Own Your Health Collective, our focus is to take a holistic approach to people's health and well-being. So we're not just focusing on your physical health, but we're also focusing on, everything: the mind, the body, the gut, the heart, the soul, that makes up a person. And so through the work that we do and the different offerings and strategies we have, we're really big on supporting and helping the whole person. And so what sits as part of that is this concept well-being. And as I said, it is a term which is bandied around a little bit, and perhaps used here and there, maybe not used in the right context. And so what I want to cover off today for the next 10 minutes is really just talk about what is well-being and what can we do to try and move towards the state of well-being that we would love to have. So to get started, well-being. So well-being in simple terms is our ability to feel good and function well. So if you think about and reflect on your life, we want to be able to do the things that we want to do. We want to, be functioning as well as we can, and we want to feel good, basically. And that's what the term well-being encompasses. Through research from local professors, they have looked into well-being, and they've actually discovered that 70% of us spend our time either just functioning or flailing. And we've really gotten into this state of living in that we are just living to simply get by. And I know that from my own perspective and my own experience only a few years ago, that I was really in that frame of mind. I really had that mindset that I was going to work was a means to an end, and I was simply just living to get by. It's about when it comes to well-being is that we want to look at how can we nurture certain areas of ourselves so that we are functioning good and we are feeling good and we're being well, and we are functioning and have a level of well-being that we want to adhere to. So we're not trying to reach a level of well-being that someone else has, but rather we're coming back to what well-being means to us and what it looks like to us. And so despite our efforts, because, a lot of the time, most of us know what it takes to be healthy. We know that it involves either eating well, moving, sleeping, resting, taking some downtime. And despite all our efforts in trying to focus on all of that, we are finding looking after ourselves is challenging because we are feeling the pressures of everyday demands, feeling the pressures of work. We've got unrealistic expectations, whether they're self-inflicted or they're external expectations in terms of how we should live and how we should work. And so all of that factors into and affects our level of well-being. And so what can we do to try and reach that desired state of well-being that we want to do or to have? Or what can we do to actually try and boost our well-being in certain areas of our life? So myself and Lisa included, and I guess the collective that is Own Your Health, we believe that we are made up of 4 pillars. Now, this isn't new research. This isn't something that we have made up. There's a lot of research out there, but I've really come to appreciate this whole concept and the research that is out there. And so what I believe and what we believe here is that we are made up of physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental pillars. And so in order for us to reach that level of well-being, we need to nurture each of those 4 avenues. And so when we talk about emotional, we're talking about the relationships with either ourselves, but the relationships around us as well. And so to be having a satisfied level of well-being, we want to have those relationships. We want to have that emotional connection with other people. From a physical point of view, we typically know what that is, in that we are nurturing our physical body, and that is either through movement, that is either through eating well or sleeping. From a spiritual perspective, we are living in alignment to how we want to live life. So we understand and know and live our values. We feel like we're living with some purpose, and we also understand our strengths and we're nurturing our strengths. And then finally, the mental pillar of us is all around, are we nurturing the things that we want to achieve in life? So are we setting goals? Are we being creative? Are we living with curiosity? And so each of those 4 pillars allows us to focus where perhaps we are not looking at, we're not, nurturing. So we might feel that physically we are doing really well, but we still feel that maybe our level of well-being isn't where it should be. And so we might look and say, the relationships around me, perhaps it's the relationships at work, or maybe it's through your friendship groups, I need to focus on those. I need to try and boost those and reconnect with those people. And then what you start to notice is that as you start to make small shifts and look at things that you can improve on, you start to see that, your overall well-being does improve and perhaps does change. There's a well-known professor in America, his name is Martin Seligman, and he has actually taken the whole concept of well-being a lot further than this, and he's actually got a model called the PERMA model. And so in spelling PERMA, it is PERMA. Melbourne researchers have actually added a H to the end of that model. And so what this model is made up of is positive emotions is the P, E is engagement, R is relationship, M is meaning, A is accomplishment, and H is health. And so again, Martin Seligman's whole notion with this model is that looking at 6 of those pillars, we can actually look at areas that we can help nurture, develop, and grow so that we can reach that desired level of well-being that we are looking for. And so again, what we can focus on is looking at, so positive emotions. You might not be aware, but our brain has a negative bias. And so naturally, our brain will try and protect us from things that are new. And so we start to doubt our abilities, or we start to feel fearful about creating some change. But what we can do through understanding this model and this concept of positive emotions is we can exercise certain parts of our brain to help us focus on the good and bring some more positivity into our life. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be positive 24/7, because we are emotional, living human beings, and, our emotions go up and down. But what we can do is cultivate this idea of positivity, and, we start to see the good in things. We start to focus on the good rather than focusing on the things that are not working for us. And actually, in closing for this Lunch and Learn session, I've got a quick little activity that you can do, and I'll run through that, and it's a really good one. If I break down the model even further, if we look at accomplishment, so for me, I am a pretty keen runner, and so I get my level of accomplishment from my running. So I set goals around running marathons, running to certain PBs as well. And I find that in having those personal goals, they help nourish that level of accomplishment that I desire in life. Also in my business as well, that's really given me such an uplift in terms of the level of well-being that I have, and what accomplishment is contributing to that level of well-being. So what I want to share, and what I want to share in the subsequent weeks as we go through these Lunch and Learns, is to look at each of these concepts under this PERMA model and actually break them down further, and actually give you some really great tangible activities that you can do to help cultivate that level of well-being that you're looking for. And so this is all great to know what well-being is. It's great to know that we are made up of 4 pillars, and that we are a whole person. So mind, body, soul, gut, heart. And in being able to reach a level of well-being, we need to nurture all of those pillars. So can we actually improve our health and well-being? Well, we absolutely can. And the important thing to note here is that our well-being ebbs and flows. So depending on what stage we are at in life, or depending on what is happening around us, because we know that life can be turbulent. We know that we can be, moving along swimmingly one moment, but then the next something happens, and, we find ourselves in a situation that we weren't expecting to be in. But through positive interventions, such as some of the things I've spoken about, and particularly from this PERMA model, and also that activity I'm going to talk about towards the end, we can start to engage in healthier habits and activities that prepare us and have us being able to work through those times when perhaps we're in a state where things aren't quite going to plan. And it all comes down to, strengthening our mind, strengthening our heart, and having practices and habits that we can turn to help us to boost our health and our well-being. And what I love in terms of what Lisa and I are creating at Own Your Health Collective is that we are going to be nurturing and educating people on how you can bring more of those healthy habits into your life on a regular basis. And really what happens and what we hope is that we're helping you to make healthy simple again. And so we want to help you become, more informed, want to help you become more confident, and we want to encourage you to be actively involved in shaping your well-being. And so it's all about coming back to you. And whenever it comes down to health and well-being, it's coming down to, what do you want from your health and well-being? What do you want your health and well-being to help you contribute to? So who do you want to show up as? And who do you want to be for the people around you? And we definitely know that this concept of well-being and moving towards a level of well-being that you desire is possible. but it's a skill that is learned, and it's a skill that you need to nurture and master as you go along. Even though I work in this space and I have been working in it for the last few years, I am still a work in progress. And what's important to understand when it comes to health and well-being is that we are all a work in progress. So it's not about getting to a particular destination or reaching a level of happiness or satisfaction, but it's actually realizing that we are developing and we are growing and we are learning and we are nurturing our well-being as we go along. Because as I said before, life ebbs and flows, our well-being ebbs and flows. But the more informed we are, the more educated we are, the more confident we feel to be able to tackle those situations when things go awry and they're unexpected, and they really can be everyday things, such as stress at work, work-life pressures, trying to manage the demands of children and school, and all those, I guess, mundane things we might call them. But they contribute to our stress, and they contribute to, our lack of energy. They contribute to our inability to perform as we want to perform. And we hope that through the lessons and the learnings that we can give people here, that we can help you move towards that level of well-being and really, live that thriving, flourishing life that we know everybody desires to have. So that was a really, quick recap of what well-being is. And I guess if I can leave you with one thing when it comes to what is well-being, it's this idea of functioning well and feeling good. And what I'd love to do for you is give you an activity, but what I'd love for you to have a think about and maybe reflect on after this lunch and learn is, what does functioning well or feeling good look like to you? So if you could be at that particular level that you desire, what does that look like to you? And how would you be feeling? How might you be contributing to those around you? How might you be performing at work? What sort of parent might you be? You'll find that as I go through Lunch and Learns, I am very big on helping people really tap into their feelings, understand their why and their purpose and their values, and really using that as motivation to help you move forward to achieve that level of health and well-being that you desire. So I promised you an activity that you can do really anytime, any day. I loosely, and I say loosely because I've got a 5-year-old, but I loosely do this at the dinner table whilst we're having dinner, and I try and do it every night. And it's simply asking yourself 3 questions. So, first question is, what has gone well for you today? Very simple question, but again, what we're doing here with this question is that we're trying to counteract the negative thoughts that we've had of things that have gone wrong in the day. And what you find when you start to do this exercise is that it might take you a little while to find out or really tap into that thing that's gone well for you today. But what you do start to realize is that subconsciously through your other days is that you start to really notice the things that are going well, and you start to really live in that moment and be present in that moment of what is going well. So first question, what is going well for you? And you know what? The simple answer to this question just might be that you got dinner on the table and you got your family all there sitting together. As simple as that. But what we can do is we can start to notice the things, these simple things that have gone well for us. Second question for you is, what am I struggling with? So with this question, we're not necessarily focusing on what has gone wrong today or what hasn't worked for us today, but we can reword it in a particular way that what are we struggling with? So what are you struggling with? And this is the type of question, I do this with my family at the dinner table. What are you struggling with? And a very profound question. And what you will find is that it'll probably be a lot easier for you to focus on what you are struggling with than what is going well, because our negative bias in the brain automatically goes to the negative. So what are you struggling with? Now, here's the kicker. The third question is what learning or development can I gain from this struggle? So what do I need to learn, or what do I need to develop to overcome what I'm struggling with? So what we're doing here is we're actually changing our thinking from something we're struggling with to now highlighting that as an opportunity to learn or make a change. So if I give you a simple example, let me think. And if I put it into a work context, so maybe something you're struggling with is maybe you've got a massive project that's due very soon, and you're struggling with the time pressures of trying to do your day job as well as trying to manage this project. And so perhaps what you're struggling with is that you're feeling that pressure. You're feeling the pressure of trying to juggle both. What learning could you take or use to help you manage this time pressure that you're under? And again, it might take you a little time to think about this, but how could we turn this into an opportunity to learn? And so when I've felt under pressure in terms of work, in that I've had some pretty, big deadlines that I've tried to reach or had to get to, and I'm feeling that pressure, the first thing I do, and it's something that I've become a lot better at, is actually writing out what do I need to get done. So rather than writing out a huge long to-do list, because I've done that in the past and it's never worked, what I do is I write out a priority list. So each morning, really before my day starts, I'll write out the 3 top priorities for the day. And those are the things that I need to achieve and get done. And what you find when you do an exercise like that is you start to shift your mindset in focusing on the important tasks that are going to propel you forward, as opposed to focusing on these things that we perceive as important and they're urgent, but they're really taking away our energy and our focus from the things that we need to be doing. So that's an example of how could I turn what I'm struggling with into an opportunity or into a learning that will help me develop and grow. So I'll just recap. So 3 questions. What has gone well for me today? What am I struggling with? And what learning do I need to help me through what I am struggling with? Now, as I said, I loosely try and do this every night with my family, my husband and my daughter and myself. I've got a 5-year-old, so it doesn't resonate always, but we at least try, and we're trying to embed that habit into our evening. You may only be able to do it once a week, and that is totally fine. But what you're doing is you're starting to cultivate this idea that you're looking at your day. You're reflecting on your week or your day and looking at what's going well and what opportunities do you have for development and growth. This is an activity that I learned from a local professor actually, and it's something that I have found really profound for me, not just as a person, but definitely in my business and in my work as well, in that it's forcing me, and I say force as in I'm not being, held at ransom to do this, but it's really forced me to reflect on, the good things that I'm doing with my work, and also, looking at where I can develop and further thrive and learn and seeking opportunities to grow. So it's a really great activity, and one that I know that you will get a lot of benefit out of, and not just for yourself, but also for your family or your close network around you. Maybe even it's for your team at work as well. So what I will suggest, and feel free, you're welcome to share this video around. So this is the weekly series Lunch and Learn for Own Your Health Collective. Every Thursday, Lisa and I will be coming to you with a particular topic, and we'll be sharing some ideas and tips and tricks on how you can boost your overall health and well-being, but most importantly, make your health simple again, because that is really our focus, in that we want to simplify health for you at work and in life. Lisa and I will alternate week by week depending on the topic. So you may see me or you may see Lisa, but we will definitely be here every Thursday about 12ish and be running for about 10 to 15 minutes. You're welcome at any time to PM me, private message me on Facebook, or send me an email at info@ownyourhealthco.com.au should you want to explore or leave any comments. And absolutely, you're welcome to share this around as well. So we have a real strong focus and commitment to wanting to create positive workplace environments across, let's say, the world. Why not think big? But we want to create positive workplace environments where people are driven to perform and thrive in work and in life. And so through not only this Lunch and Learn, but the work that we're doing, we want to educate and inspire and motivate you guys to live healthily. So there you have it. That is my take on what well-being is. And I hope that you can give that activity a go, and do comment or PM me, how you're finding doing that activity on a weekly or a daily basis. So that is it from me. We will see you next Thursday at 12 p.m. Have a fabulous weekend. See ya.